Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious. You can join us in broadening our minds on the Nameless Debates Discord via the link below, and even feature here yourself, if you've got what it takes.
So you have to be allowed to let people do what they want. You're never going to get all of humanity to agree on what is the best,
Right.
I agree.
for
No, I
humanity.
totally agree with you. I'm actually on the
I
same
agree
page
with that.
you. But for the sake of playing the devil's advocate, let me ask you: do you feel like individual freedoms are extended to those in the womb?
No, I feel like that if you don't stick your finger in my cereal, I'm not going to shit in yours and tip the bowl over. That's how I feel.
You believe in the eye for an eye. Okay,
My question
I like
is
it.
this: when does consciousness or the self appear in? When does individual identity and freedom appear within a body during conception? That's what I'm asking. Do you side with Augustine and Aquinas and their idea of it appearing after a certain amount of weeks? When do you think that it shows up after birth?
I can't answer that question, and that's not a question for philosophy to answer. That's a question for science to answer, and currently we don't have
I
the data.
agree.
Well,
It should be a question for science to
I can't
answer.
answer that. I can't answer your question. I can't answer your question because I don't have enough data. I don't have enough data to
Because,
answer your question.
that's
Something
fair.
to consider is that essentially when that fetus is 2, 6, whatever weeks, it's like it's got the cell complexity of a cucumber. You know what I mean? Like you can't really say it's life. Like, yeah, okay, fair enough, it is life, but it's not a human life yet. Certainly, still just a cucumber.
I mean, realistically, that is a matter of like when it becomes appropriate to categorize it as human. But
Yeah,
I agree.
and that's based on all perspectives of
Would you say
humans
that
and
that's
stuff?
when the brain is developed?
I'm not confident on what the line should be.
If you want to listen to my line,
That's why I think it's a good topic of contention for sure. It's
yeah.
fun to talk about because
I agree.
We're all just kind of shooting in the dark here.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I am like you guys are about to hear my point, but I'm gonna let everyone speak before I just fucking like blow your minds on exactly what I believe in.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So, in my belief, I don't know. I see the future very present in like the next 20 years when I'm an adult. So I'm gonna give you a little background. When I'm older, I want to become a geneticist. If you guys know what a geneticist is, it's basically the people that fuck around with your food, the people that like can edit the baby, the embryo, and can alter like many things. So my thing is how do you guys feel once we're able to make life without an actual human DNA? Like we could just fucking create DNA. I can make it so the baby has have red eyes, whatever type of eyes I want. I can make the baby muscular. I could make the baby have long torso, short legs. I could change anything I want. I could alter anything. I'm saying, what is your feelings on when the point when human don't need to reproduce anymore? What's your thoughts on that?
Hey, wasn't there a story recently about that of Chinese scientists?
Oh yeah, with the twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was yesterday. Yep, that happened, and I've paid closely attention to that. So
I
what he
haven't
did
read it
was
yet.
so what he essentially did is he edited the I can't remember exactly what gene it is, but essentially he edited one of the genes, and it wiped out some trace of disease or whatever. Anyways, so the evidence is proven that he did do it. So now what everyone's wondering about is, okay, if he did this, when the fuck is this that is going to be that like I said before, then that we don't need humans to reproduce? When is it going to be that scientists could have 1 million embryos just fucking sitting in a freezer just waiting to just like be played around with? Like, how do you feel about like playing with humans? That's my thing.
I'm confused.
Essentially what I'm saying is, At some point in our technology, we're gonna have it so humans don't reproduce at all. So like you don't need to reproduce. You don't need to have a kid. I can have 60 million embryos, 60 million kids just sitting in a freezer, and I can mess around with them whenever I want because of the technology in the future that I'm thinking about. I can have I could change whatever I want in the embryo. I can make it so I could create DNA essentially. I could create the foundation of what makes animals, makes humans. I can make it so your child is a scorpion, a freaking gorilla, and a freaking human.
Okay, on that note, on what you said, I just listened to everything you said. Very
yeah.
And I took what you said very seriously. Now I have something to say before I go for a short moment because I got to go to work and then I'll be back. But I want to say something about what you just said. And I think that you have a very good idea, and this goes along with the idea of genetic manipulation and the ability to manipulate human genetics for the advancement of the human species as a whole. So we could advance technology to the point where we tackle the problem of what is death and enable ourselves the capability to colonize beyond the stars of other planets.
You're thinking very. It creeps me out. You're thinking very close to me. Very close to me. It creeps me out.
And in that way, once we defeat death and are able to manipulate our own genetics, we can colonize the stars, and each of us could technologically advance to the point where we could each become gods in our own right. And this is the final.
You're thinking. Oh yes,
what this is called. Now, what this is called is you're going to want to look at some philosophical concepts that would definitely agree with you on what you believe here. And it's called transhumanism and egoism. Start looking it up and reading about it. I'll be back in like 30 minutes. See you guys.
All right. All right, boy. How do you guys feel about playing with human life, making it so I can make you? You don't care, okay?
No. Why would I care?
Me neither.
All right. So, do you guys think as long as
can I just ask you a question, man? Like, when you go around and you I don't know, kick over like an anthill, am I supposed to cry about that because you're kicking over an anthill?
I don't care.
No, because he's kicking over the anthill, though.
No, I don't care. Personally, me, I believe in forward thinking. I believe in anything that's going to advance where we're at today. I don't care about how other people think, and with that sense, that makes me more like a dictator. But ideally, that's the way I think, and I just think forward thinking because I feel like other people's thoughts are important and stuff, but I also feel like if I collectively just change, like, go straight forward.
Don't say it.
What?
Don't say it.
What?
Oh, you know, it's the argument like if I was Hitler, I would make the world better.
But that's not my thing, though. I mean, like, something that's proven, something that's undetermined.
So talking from that lens, right? If I was Hitler, I'd make the world better, which I think we can all agree I personally think it's silly.
It's not just silly. It's like fundamentally naive about the condition that leads someone to become like Hitler.
Yes, absolutely. But that means that we can be cognizant of the long-term conditions and behaviors and patterns socially that lead to the creation of these kinds of world-changing events. So I'd say that there are consequences in terms of genetic manipulation that could lead to, and like I can't say I know for sure this is going to happen. I think it opens up the potentiality for the events to be augmented in effect, and for a new realm of these types of events to even appear. I think if you gave me enough time, we could probably posit some real examples using the genetics that are possible using CRISPR. But
oh man, you talk about CRISPR, you're like getting right to my heart. Let's go. I love this.
That's where I'd say our considerations on ethics and morality can come into play. But
and that's the thing, though. That's the thing.
I think that one second, Tab. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Finish. I'm getting really excited about this.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a bioethicist. But there are people who are trained in various fields in order to have this multifaceted lens they can craft, which I'd love to be able to participate in which they have these kinds of discussions. I think that we can't really take any overarching ethic from a philosophical view that someone may posit and use that as an overlay to explain genetic consequences. But I think that we need to create the field for us to talk about it.
What are you saying? You're saying that there has to be a new field in science, a new field that, or like new field in and like exactly what are you saying? Like a new field in science that's specifically focused on this concept of forward thinking, or like
what I'm saying is this kind of field already exists, but
right. And what is that field?
Need to bioethics, I think, would be the overarching field, and we have a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of TED Talks on it by Kevin Falca. Paul Knopfler's Ethical Dilemma of Designer Babies is a great one.
Oh, Designer Babies! I love that one. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I actually have met Paul Knopfler. He's a
yes.
Yeah, he's come to teach at my university for a little bit, and I was lucky enough to have a bioethics seminar with him. So
very nice.
I learned a little bit about this, but basically what I'm hearing from this guy that a lot of people give authority to as an important figure is even these guys who seem to be at the top don't really know where to go from here, and we need to stimulate this conversation in the first place. And places like this, these kind of chat, like this is the perfect spot, you know?
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, the fact is that I'm only 16, so many things could change in the way I think. Many things could change. A lot of things. The world can change. Anything could change. My thing is that it scares myself, because if I'm thinking like this, let's just picture a million people thinking like this. That fucking scares me. If everyone thinks like similar to what I think, I don't exactly know how the world would react to that, if that makes sense. Like I feel like people like me are out of the norm, and I feel like it's going to concern a lot of people, religious leaders, politicians, all of that stuff. And I feel like it's important to like address this, like certainly like people that are my age and stuff. I feel like there has to be more like a focus on what's going to happen in the future instead of living day by day. Because there will be people that make those breakthroughs, and I feel like if there's no laws, there's nothing on it, then we're going to be able to do whatever the fuck we want. It's going to be like the internet when it first came out. You could do whatever you want. That's my thing. Because I know people are going to take it farther. I know people are going to think darker than what I think. I know that.
What if people take advantage of it? What if all like a bunch of people
that's
get
what I'm saying.
And they use it for themselves and they become super intelligent, and then they leave everyone else.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like that's very important to talk about, because like that's what I'm saying. You have to nurture the minds of people who think like this, because this is a very, very like positive and very negative way of thinking. Because if it goes too negative, too forward thinking, then you're correct. We can make it so humans are fucking retarded, and then there's like a dictator essentially, and there would be nothing you could do about it either.
There's like a book that had it was basically like the government controlled everyone, and they try to make everyone like as like equally dumb as possible. And
I don't know, but that concept seems familiar. Like what you're trying to talk about, yeah.
There's a book. I had to look it up. It's been a long time, but basically like the government, like a group of people got together and they basically made everyone equal in the sense like physically and mentally. So like if you were born like stronger than someone else, and they like put weights on you and make it harder for you to do like physical activities, or if you were more intelligent, if you're trying to think like, you know, more intelligently than other people, they like punish you for that. And they make everyone on equal level except for the people at the top, in which they would allow the people at the top to do whatever they want, but everyone at the bottom would have to deal with the oppression.
Sorry, I disappeared. I just realized I was in the totally wrong chat, and I have no idea what the hell the people are talking about in there.
You gotta look up the name of this thing. I remember reading it.
Like, I'm telling you right now that I'm just saying, if people like me are very passionate in this way of ideal thinking, this will spark revolutions. This will spark many different things. Like, I'm telling you right now, people will disagree. People will be killed. People will be everything. The whole concept on reality, the way humans live, will change. And I don't know if it's going to be positive or negative. And I feel like that's the most scary part. Because I'm only one person. If I have 10 people thinking the complete wrong way, or like if everyone's thinking like dark, then humanity's fucked, especially those that don't know what's happening in the world. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, I can't really like bring this up because I just think that one thing that's gonna help everyone is that if everyone has some level of exactly what we're talking about, because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. A lot of people don't know like how to react to this. A lot of people think this is in a distant future, but as we see in time, technology is getting faster and faster, and there's nothing you could do to stop it. It's like a button on a flashlight. It's going to turn on eventually. But in that time, it's only a second. But in our time, it's like 20 years. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, it was the book of 1984. That's what it was.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, there's definitely some bad people out there that'll try and take advantage of. But we really don't have to worry about that type of technology coming up too soon, because it takes a long time to develop technology. Like an example of that could be something like graphite. Graphite, it's a good conductor of electricity, but right now it's still taking time to develop graphite to be implemented into our daily lives, right? It's been like years since they did there's like a Russian scientist that actually discovered that, like if you have like a piece of carbon, then you take a piece of tape and then you rip off the first layer of it, will be 6 times more, a 6 times better conductor than copper. And, that just came out like years ago, but, businesses are still like working on that technology, and, they still haven't actually implemented it into like households and everything, because it takes time to develop technology. But when we talk about genetics, it's even more advanced. So when you
I'm gonna say genetics is very advanced.
It may even take even longer. So
genetics
it may not even be in our lifetime before we actually start getting into transhumanism.
Yeah, genetics is probably one of the, I wouldn't say the easiest to understand, but definitely the most logical sense thing that you could possibly learn. Like it's like chemistry, and in the sense that it's all like a book. It's something you could read. It's something that has formulas and stuff. It's nothing that's like out of the world. Nothing that's like, what I'm saying is everything's gonna happen chapter by chapter. Nothing's gonna happen like drastically that's gonna change the way it is. It's going to it's gonna happen that way because that's just how the field works. It's like DNA. Like for example, the DNA is separated. DNA is read. DNA is repaired, and then the cell works based on the whatever the DNA wants it to do, and that's just the way it works. My thing is that this all relates to like abortion, all this stuff, is because that's going to be the first step in leading into super babies and stuff like that. That's going to be the first step. And how people will react, I feel like it's going to be like a 50-50. It's going to be, and there's going to be like subsidies to that. It's just not going to be like 50-50. It's going to probably be like 35, 10, 20. It's going to be like a whole mix of like different emotions, different morals. Because we also have to remember, like, if we take this to like a society based level, everyone does not think the same. Everyone thinks very differently for the most part. So it's going to be crazy. and I
Most of the
can't wait.
religious people that'll have a
Oh my
problem
god,
with
I cannot wait to get into,
transhumanism
like, the
because
extreme
it'll go
religious
up against their religion.
Yeah, people like not dying. Oh my god, they're gonna fucking freak out about that. Oh, but it will happen. If I don't do it, someone will, and that's concerning for many people. I don't know.
I feel like there's like a whole like a lot of hype around it, but you really have to be understanding about in this world. It takes a long time to develop technology, and I highly doubt in our lifetime we will ever see transhumanism.
You'd be very surprised. I think that's what people are estimating is how slow this process will take. I think it's going to be very, very fast. Because I'll put it in perspective. If you know anything on like genetics itself, it's supposed to get an increase of 27% in the whole entire field between 20 I think it was 2016 to like 2026. So 10 years from now, I would like to have this talk again with like the same like ideology that people have, and I want to hear people then. I feel like right now it's still in its early stage. Genetics have not been around for a long time. It's only been around like 1980s, if we want to be honest. I mean, like the basic concept has been around since like the 1800s, like Gregor Mendel and stuff like that. But I mean, like Francis and Watson or whatever with the freaking discovery of the DNA. Look how fast that changed in like 20 years. Look how much more we know now. We know so many different things that we didn't know before. And I feel like that's with everything in technology. I feel like it's going to keep getting faster and faster rather than slower and slower. I feel like at this point in history, there's no more slow. It's going to be to the point where at a certain point we're going to know everything, how everything happens and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. That's the way I'm thinking, but it's going to be a crazy world out there. Get ready, guys. Everyone thinks it's bad now. I can't wait. Fucking when I need to ask you something. How do you guys feel about do you think the world's going to keep getting more and more populated, or is it going to eventually get stable? What is your thoughts on that?
I think it will increase to an extent, and then once all of the other countries sort of catch back up economically, the population will start to level out a bit.
We're gonna have problems. We're running out of water on Earth,
right? But
so people are gonna go to war because who gets water?
Yeah. And the thing is,
we're seeing that in like Arizona, California, and Nevada. Like we're already discussing like water rights over the Colorado River because it's drying up, and our population is growing. So we need more water. It's going to be
very interesting, and I think people are kind of letting this like go. But yeah, I do agree. This is a very important thing that needs to be talked about. About that, there's many different ways of avoiding it and how to solve it. Like, for example, you could do the basic thing of like reserving water, rationing water. You could do that, but let's think of it as humans. Are we honestly going to do that? No, we're fucking for most people, for most amount of population that actually matters, we are greedy, and I will say that is true.
I would say that we don't really care about our problems until they're actually hitting us. Until they're actually like right in our face. And so when it comes to water, when we run out of water, on the day we can only survive so long without water. So when it hits us in the face, it's gonna get messy.
I think that humanity will always find the way, but I think that it's going to affect it's going to kill a lot of people before it's actually solved. Like there will be those people that will survive. It's going to happen.
Do you think our desalination technologies are going to increase though? Like
desalination that requires a lot of energy. That is very good input. I do think desalination is very important, but the question arises: where are you going to put all the salt?
Right. Another question. Another question.
Right. You're going to dump all the salt back into the ocean and make the ocean more salty, and then what happens to the environment?
Serve it up to person by person. Seriously, that they would enjoy salt.
Have you seen
like you
something
think
like the
about it,
Red
like
Sea in Israel? Have you seen the Red Sea?
that's not a good example. That's
Well,
caused by
no,
tidal, like tidal
that's an
effects.
example of what happens to water when it
It's
becomes salty.
oversalted.
Yeah, but we're only temporarily separating the salt from the water. The water is not being destroyed. Like
Yeah,
once the water has been
create
used,
nor
it will then
destroy
go back.
mass. We know that.
Yeah, but
The
like
law
once
of
the water has been
conservation
used,
of
like
mass.
fresh water. Like what do you think we do with all of our wastewater now? Like you shower in fresh water and it goes straight back to the sea. The total amount of water is not decreasing. It's just temporarily you are separating it. And like it would stop us from needing salt mines as well. We could just use it. Like
Humans,
we have lots of
require water, right?
constructive uses for salt.
We're all walking
No,
bodies
I
of
understand
water.
what he's saying.
Think about it like
He's
that.
saying that's temporarily. No, I understand both sides of what you're saying. What he's saying essentially is that we're not actually ever losing water. We're just converting into another type of water that's unstable for human consumption. And then what you're essentially stating is that in order to turn it back to where it's allowed to like be consumed or whatever, it takes a lot of energy. So it takes more energy to convert back than to actually like
think about this. We use a lot of water, especially for agriculture. In order to keep a human alive, you need to feed them, right? And okay, okay, so now that you acknowledge that, so now when we're growing crops, do you think let me ask you this. Do you know how much water it takes to grow a crop?
Agriculture uses? Yeah. Agriculture uses fuckloads of water.
It uses about 80% of the water. And also like with manufacturing, like with machines, they also use a lot of water. But as we said the point, but if you want to keep a human alive, you have to feed them, right? So all that water you're going to need to
I have solutions to that
rather than just in a people in order to feed the people.
And there's been solutions.
Also, you need to use that water.
Yeah.
Because people need to drink water. So we're all walking bags of water, right?
Yeah, 80%. Yep.
When our population grows, we get more walking bags of water, and we
Does that mean we have more water?
It means there's less
we get more water if we get more people.
More walking bags of water.
Yeah.
Okay, what to solve the energy issue, what if we kill two birds with one stone and use wave-powered desalination plants?
But see, that's a good idea. But is like governments and actual people that are gonna do? Are they actually gonna do it? Hell no, they're not gonna do it. They're gonna do at the last minute. Like what you're saying is very good idea.
When it becomes a crisis.
Yeah, when it becomes a crisis, no one's gonna care. Maybe like the little countries, maybe like the ones that are like always open to like energy stuff, like all of the like the Scandinavian countries and stuff. They're usually more open to like all that shit. But I'm talking about like the big ass countries, China, United States, like the Arabic countries, like the people that fucking use the most like shit. Those are the people that actually matter. And like I feel like people will change slowly, but it's not going to be something major that automatically changes until it's a crisis. That's what I'm essentially stating. But yeah, I mean, there's also another thing with how to solve the problem with like genetics. Like honestly, if we've solved genetics completely by I don't know exactly what time period, but if we solve it completely, and I know the fucking ins and out of how to like essentially grow corn from a petri dish, I can make it that I could end the world of hunger essentially. And then with the same concept, you could make unlimited water because you can make it so crops require less water, but you can make it so the crops give more water in a sense. It's very weird concept, but it would work. It's very weird.
I don't understand. Mass can neither be created nor destroyed.
It's not created nor destroyed. You're not creating it. You're giving. So like the crops, like cactuses and stuff, they absorb water, right? Well, if I make it so it takes less water, right? That means it should get less water, but I feel like once we know exactly how certain things work, like I feel like there's much more with like how a cactus works. I don't think it's primarily all the water absorbs and then becomes cactus juice. There has to be another process, and I think that I think I don't know. I feel like there's other way. I feel like there's plants and shit. Like we'll look at like trees for example. Other plants they turn carbon dioxide to oxygen, and then oxygen it has water or water is essentially oxygen in a way. I don't know. Because then you could absorb. Then, if we want to add hydrogen, you could get hydrogen from the sun. I'm not exactly sure how you would extract it, but it would be possible in a way if we had the technology. This all revolves around if we had the technology at the certain time point.
Also, back to the sort of desalination thing, that it doesn't necessarily use a lot of power because there are several methods we have for water desalination. For example, reverse osmosis, like they pass the water through a semi-permeable membrane.
Oh,
and
shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. One of the other things that they do, the natural process of desalination is to run it through, or one of the ways that it is naturally done is run through mountains and stuff. So if they found a way to like replicate that, we would have a natural and free process for desalination.
Yeah, we do. We have actually managed to replicate it, and I believe that is what reverse osmosis is referring to. I'm not certain.
Do we have the technology actually developed right now?
Yeah. Like people use it.
We have a starting foundation.
Lots of bottled water companies use it as like a marketing gimmick because people love their term, but it actually is legitimately useful.
Do we have the technology where it could fit the needs of massive population? No, but we'll eventually get there.
That's more a question of scalability. Like, there's not any shortcoming of the technology itself. It's just like, is it cost effective to scale?
Yeah, but that involves like many other factors. That involves like the cost to make it. Is it worth it? Stuff like that.
That's where the whole energy.
Like how renewable is the membrane that you use if you are using something like reverse osmosis? Like, yeah, there are definitely a lot of factors to incorporate. But I think that if the survival of our species is on the line, we're going to put a lot of time and effort into it.
Yeah, we're going to put a lot of time and effort. But it won't happen until, like I said, it's not going to happen until we get into a crisis. Everything happens because we got into a crisis. Why? Like, I can give you a perfect example. Why the fuck do we care about the bubonic plague when it occurred? Is because it was killing all fucking mad people. And then that's why we started doing other, like, regulations to, like, make sure we don't all fucking die from it. And yeah. Welcome to how the fuck a human mind works, where we don't give a shit about anything in the future, and we give a shit by day. It's not a bad thing, but it is a bad thing. There's negatives and positives to it.
Not everyone thinks that way, though.
Not everyone thinks that way, but I'm talking about the countries that actually matter currently. The way they're thinking, that's how they're thinking. They're thinking day by day. United States, for example, we're thinking day by day. The people in the government. I'm not talking about like everyone in the United States. I'm talking about the people that actually run the rules and shit. Yeah. Because currently we have a president that doesn't believe in global climate change. I mean, do you guys believe in it?
I think the Earth is flat.
What?
I think the Earth is flat.
You think the Earth is flat? How is that possible?
No, I'm kidding. That's my.
I know you're kidding. We just had discussions on this. I remember you talking shit on all the Earth.
It's stupid.
Isn't the Earth still at icosahedron?
What?
I always thought that the Earth was still at icosahedron.
Oh yeah, the Earth is a fucking wormhole, guys. We can go through the fucking core and come out of it no problem. Yeah. So if you think, I don't know, I have to make a fucking thing. There should be a rule. If you think that the Earth is flat, you cannot be in this thing. That's just something that fucking I don't know, stupid people. That's something like religious people fucking believe. People that are
it's kind of offensive to just say religious people believe that.
I'm just saying, you know which one I'm talking about, the hyper religious, the one that are like, oh, everything's based on the Bible.
Flat Earth society.
Yeah, I'm talking about like the 1% of society that actually thinks like that. I'm hoping it's only.
Actually, 1%. There's a lot of millennials that think like that. There was a study that was conducted.
I'm sorry, then are those millennials educated in the sense that they have properly been taught that the Earth is not flat? Like, I don't know how
that's the problem. They haven't been properly educated.
Maybe me, just because I'm not. Maybe me because I'm not a dumbass. But I'm 100% confident that the Earth is not flat, and if you want to just believe it's not, then I can't change the way you think. But there's actual facts, and if you don't want to believe facts, then I don't know what the fuck.
Well, I mean, mountains kind of counter the Earth being flat, so.
I will not read them. I mean I will read them, but will I ever agree with them? No. I'm stubborn in the way that I'm 100% certain that it's not flat.
Back to climate change, you know, I think it's naturally occurring, like throughout the history of the Earth, but humans are helping it along.
Yeah, we're escalating.
Exactly. So what you're stating is that it is real, correct?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
Flat Earth is ridiculous, but flat sphere, that makes so much sense to me.
What? It's a flat sphere. Sphere is 3-dimensional. I'm confused. How the fuck could it be a 2D? What?
No, not a regular sphere, a flat sphere.
But isn't
I'm just talking shit.
I'm about to say, you're fucking like, what? You're going to get like common,
how the fuck can I process that?
I was like, that just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so yeah, there's actual evidence that the current president of the United States does not believe in global climate change. I mean, just simply getting out of the freaking French thing, I feel like that's more like a business standpoint. So I won't say that he won't believe in it, but there's other things that involve him, saying that it doesn't exist. I think a major factor was the reason why he got out of like the French shit with controlling like how much carbon we emit into our air and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Are you guys all millennials, or are you guys like Generation Z? What are you guys?
I'm pretty sure I fall into Gen Y.
General what?
Gen Y.
What's Y?
How old are you? One after Gen X. I'm 23.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I hit like just the end of Gen Y and then skipped out on millennials.
Oh, you're Gen Y. Okay, I'm Gen Z. I'm like the newest ones, or I don't know if I'm the newest one because there's little babies, but they don't really count because
they don't count yet.
They can't think. They can't think like the way we think. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's either we educate the shit out of everyone, or we let them figure out their own shit. And I rather educate someone and giving them like a bunch of viable options rather than having them figure out everything on their own, because that will not be good.
I agree we should educate people, but I think that there's a correct way of doing it. Like, when I say educate people, I mean teach them how to learn and teach them how to
teach them how to learn,
teach them how to think.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Don't just put a bunch of shit in their brain. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
I'm gonna go check out the Coliseum. I'll be back in a bit.
Oh yeah, I want to check
Coliseum as well. I don't think I can end this.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us in the Nameless Debates Discord. We hope to see you there.